Hey guys, thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And I hope you enjoyed this interview.
Good morning, Nancy. It's great to be here. Yeah, thank
Fantastic.
you.
Now let's get started. We're talking about the deposits insurance. We saw that the NDIC raised the bar just a few days ago. What does deposit insurance really mean? Because some people might actually mistake it with a conventional insurance. So let's start with that.
Okay, thank you very much, and really very topical. So when we talk about the deposit insurance coverage, it's the amount that any registered financial institution, you will mark my word, I said registered financial institution with the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC, would get if that financial institution goes under. That means if they are unable to pay depositors. So if, put it for instance, you have 10 million naira with Bank A, and Bank A is unable to pay you back your deposit. If that financial institution pays its annual premium and is up to date, the NDIC can step in and pay you up to a maximum. So if the insurance coverage customer for a commercial bank, for instance, currently is now 5 million. If you have 10 million with that bank, you are only entitled to receive just 5 million, except if later on when they liquidate and wind down that bank and there's revenue or there's assets that can be distributed, that is when you get more. So it is really very important to have that at the back of our mind, that it is the amount that you're entitled to. So what we can see to do is that it also provides a bit of confidence. So if your deposit in the bank is 1 million, it means that's with Bank A. It means that you are fully covered if that bank is up to date in its premium. And if it's more than 5 million for a commercial bank, it means that you forfeit the rest, which now speaks to you trying to spread, because it applies to Bank A. If you have 5 million across 20 banks, you are still covered if those 20 banks are unable to pay you, because they pay you per bank, not per investment or per deposit across the financial system.
So it covers per deposit, isn't it?
No, it covers per deposit per bank.
Per
So if
bank,
you have
yes.
deposits in Bank A and in Bank B, they will check. If Bank A and Bank B are unable to pay you, you will get what Bank A is covered, which is, let's say, the 5 million, and in Bank B, so you get up to the 5 million. So it is per bank, not per the amount you have in the entire system. So I think it's also good that we clarify that.
So if I have accounts in 10 banks and, and those 10 banks go belly up, as it were, though we've not seen this kind of thing happen in Nigeria
Yes.
in a while,
Yes.
if they go belly up, that means I'm insured in the tune of those 10 banks.
Yes, you are insured. So with the new rule that has moved, or the policy that have increased what is insured per customer deposit per bank from 500,000 naira to 5 million now. So it means that if you have money across 10 banks, you are entitled to 5 million naira each if the amount you have in that bank is up to 5 million. And if it's not, it means that across the banks, you are fully covered across those banks. But if you have one above, it means you will forfeit the rest across the bank. But why this is important is that we need to deal with those that are registered. If the bank, or let's say was a lot of microfinance banks that are not fully registered with them, it means that if anything happens, you will lose your deposits because they are not covered. So it's like insurance. If you don't pay for the insurance, you cannot claim the insurance.
Okay, as we're seeing on the screen now, NDIC raises deposit insurance coverage for DMBs, microfinance bank, PSBs, as well as MMOs. We saw that for the DMBs, it was raised from 500,000 naira to 5 million. Now, explain this to our viewers. Of course, you know, Ayo, that majority, over 90% of Nigerian bank customers do not have up to 500,000 naira in their accounts. That study was done, I think, by the NDIC some time ago. We've not had an update. Many Nigerian bank customers do not have up to 500,000 in their bank accounts. Now, for this review, what does it mean for someone that has less than 500,000 or 500,000 naira? Does it mean that if the bank goes belly up, I'm entitled to up to 5 million naira? Or that is the maximum? If I have 500,000, you know where I'm going to. I see you that you're smiling. Does that mean that if the bank goes belly up and I have 500,000 or less than that, I'm entitled to be paid that 500,000? Or can I claim 5 million naira? Or that I have like 50 million naira and the least they can give to me is 5 million and the rest 45 million goes into thin air?
Okay, very interesting.
Yeah.
So I think what you would be entitled to, if you have 500,000 naira with a commercial bank. So maybe I should first start with, it's graduated based on the banks. So you have the commercial banks, or so you have the commercial banks, or let's say the banks.
Yes.
Yeah. You have the banks that is now 5 million naira from 500,000 naira. That is the maximum amount that is covered. Then you have the microfinance bank, which has been increased from 200,000 naira to 2 million naira. Then you have the primary mortgage bank that have been increased from 200,000 naira to 2 million naira. Then also the MOMO, what we call the
mobile
payments, mobile money, mobile money banks, MMO, it also captures up to 5 million naira. So, and even the mortgage also, I think, covers about 2 million naira. So, depending on where you have your funds, that insurance is up to the maximum amount. So, if you have funds that is above that amount, the maximum you can claim.
Wow. Oh, network, please don't do that. Network, don't do this to me. Anyway, Ayo, are you still there? There's something wrong this morning. Ayo, if you're still there, can you hear me? Apparently, he can't hear me. Can we just take a quick break? If when we return, we'll continue the conversation. Of course, what we're looking at is the increased maximum deposit insurance for MFBs, that's for microfinance bank, DMBs, deposit money banks, mobile money operators, payment service banks. Of course, we saw just a few days ago the NDIC, which is another regulator of the banks, came up with, of course, from 500,000 naira to different categories. I think the highest is 5 million naira. So far. What does it mean for you as a bank customer? This is a conversation that you really need to know about. And when you walk into a financial institution, try as much as possible to look at if they even have that NDIC logo in front of that institution. If you see it, NDIC, you know that that financial institution is protected. I see that my camera woman is looking at me. She didn't know that part before. So for those of you that don't know, now you know. So if you don't see it, just go do your checks in the bank. So let's quickly take a break, and we hope to reconnect with Ayo. All right, Ayo, I'm glad that you're back, because I almost thought that we wouldn't conclude on this conversation, but just land on your point very quickly.
Okay, apologies. It's raining here, so
okay.
I think let's stop.
Okay, in Nigeria.
Yes. Yeah. So, it's part of what the NDIC have done was to look at the total amount of customer deposits, the total number of customers that it will be covered. So, at the rate of 5 million naira, over 99% of customers in the bank would definitely get something. But when you check it as a proportion of the value of transaction, the value of deposits, it is about 30%. So it means that a lot of people, while a lot of people have 5 million and below, that means 99% of people in the bank have 5 million and below. However, in terms of those that have above the 5 million, would be losing an average of about 70% of their deposits with the banks if anything happens to that bank. And why is this very important? It means that you need to take a lot of precautions when you are putting your funds with any bank. Yes, we've not had instances that banks have gone under in the past few years. AMCON have stepped in to bail out banks, but I will speak to the microfinance banks. I've seen customers lose their funds to microfinance banks because those microfinance banks, some of them are not up to date in their premium payments or are not fully registered. So to protect yourself, you need to be sure that these microfinance banks or any microfinance bank you'll be dealing with are up to date in the payment of their premium so that they can lay claim lay claims to their you can lay claim to the deposits that the deposit you will receive if any major thing or the unplanned happens.
Do you think that, as we try to conclude, do you think that the NDIC has been slow? It's been working like a snail because we've seen financial institutions expand, the growth of banks, even MFBs, payment service banks. Now we have mobile operators. We have electronic transactions, even in trillions of naira. Do you think that the deposit insurer has been slow in terms of following up with the growth of the financial space since the NDIC has been established? I think, if I'm not mistaken, in 1989. Is it 1989? Yes, I think March of 1989. It was set up with, I think, a decree of 1988 then, started in 1989. And we've seen, of course, the NDIC in the recent, in the past, paying deposit insurance of $500,000. So do you think that to bank customers, the likes of Savannah Bank and co, all of those days. So do you think that the NDIC has really been slow in coming?
Yes, I would agree with you that in terms of their reaction. So now they are reacting, they've not been proactive. And but we always say it's better late than never. Because when you look at the value of what, before this policy, if any bank has gone on that, imagine that what people are entitled to is the maximum of 500,000 naira in terms of insurance that is part of their deposit that is covered. That is really very small relative to the transactions or the volume of transactions in the system. So it's really very, very important that is being done, and we would expect that it will not take as much time like it took now before we also see a review. AMCON also played significant role that NDIC should have played by bailing out banks. Because you would see with the support of the CBN has played that major role. And why this is being done is also providing confidence, because there's what we call the systemic contagion effect. If one bank goes down, that implication or that impact on even banks that are strong, it may have implication or have a run on them. So that's what the system or the CBN have also been trying to also avert or prevent.
Okay, just before you go, you just made a very valid point that NDIC is supposed to be playing the role that AMCON is playing. Did I hear you right? Because AMCON is really known as a bad bank. We know that AMCON, I think, was set up during Mohammed Sanusi II. That Sanusi Lamido Sanusi's tenure. He did set up AMCON. We know what happened with the likes of Oceanic and Intercontinental Bank at that time. So if NDIC is supposed to be playing the role of AMCON, where does it actually now leave NDIC within this current space? Having in mind that we have an administration that is market-driven, the philosophy of economics, of course, the economy is what they are focusing on mostly, with the NDIC working in partnership with the Central Bank of Nigeria, because I know that both institutions do stress tests on our banks. And when a bank fails, there's a mechanism, I think the bridge bank mechanism, that comes into play. So do you think that we may need an AMCON now if the NDIC steps up. I know that there's a lot that AMCON has even gone ahead now. Not be bank alone.
Yeah, so AMCON was supposed to be like is a bridge bank just for a while, not to. So the role AMCON at the time when AMCON came in to play that role, it was also very important because it was beyond depositors' fund. That means
yeah,
the
but AMCON's lifespan was supposed to be for 10 years actually, though, and 10 years don't pass.
Yes, 10 years has passed, and even if when you also even check the cost, the AMCON levy is becoming a major burden on banks.
Yeah.
Maybe that's another topic, right? It's becoming a major burden based on the amount because it's 0.3 or 0.5% of total assets, which is becoming very significant and having a major cost line before even staff payments on banks. So that's another discussion that we need to look into. But when you look at NDIC, yeah, so they are supposed to provide that confidence. So if 99% of depositors knows that their deposit is covered, if anything happens, it provides confidence rather than people keeping money in their homes. Though we hope this new policy, if it's true on cybercrime fee, will not be a major setback to financial inclusion. But that is really their role, is to provide confidence and to be able to ensure that the financial system continues to play its role of financial intermediation.
Now, final question, or last, just before you go, how does NDIC get this money? How does the yes?
Okay, there's a fee that is banks also pay. So there's insurance premium. So you call it NDIC insurance premium that is paid annually. And that is why it is important to be sure that your banks or your bank is paying that amount. It's like an annual fee that is being charged. I think it's about 0.2% now. I may be wrong. Forgotten the actual amount, but is the charge as a proportion of total deposits. So it's part of the cost of deposits to the banks. They have to pay that so that if anything happens, depositors are covered. But not all banks, especially microfinance bank, complies with this. So you see it like an insurance premium. If you don't pay the insurance, you cannot make claims on it. So it's important that you know. And it is not all financial institutions that are also covered under this thing. For instance, investment banks, stockbroking firms,
discount houses,
lending, credit firms, finance houses are not all covered. So it's good to know the kind of risks that you are taking. So it means that you have to do more due diligence if you are going to be investing or partnering with any investment outfits to be sure that you are able to get back your money when you need it.
All right, thank you very much, Ayo, for joining us today and giving us more insights into this topic. Thank you and have a good day.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching. In case this is your first time watching us, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, drop your comments as well as like, and most of all, share our content.